The Koch network, associated with the powerful Republican donors, the Koch brothers, have just endorsed Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley. Americans for Prosperity Action, the political arm of Koch's network, are out with a new ad in support of the former UN ambassador. Let's get over to CNN's Jessica Dean. She's got more details on this. This is a big deal for not just Nikki Haley, but the entire Republican field.
That is exactly right, Kate. So often when we hear endorsements, they don't really do all of that much or move the needle. This could be potentially very different. The reason why is just the incredible amount of money that Americans for Prosperity has at its disposal and has shown that it will use. This is the very first time they've ever gotten involved in a presidential primary, in the GOP presidential primary, and they said they had to. They knew and had said that they would likely bypass former President Trump because in their explanation of this endorsement of Nikki Haley today, one of their executives saying that they believe that the GOP continues to nominate what they called bad candidates and that Americans are rejecting them. That's why they are throwing their support behind the former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, who they believe could win in a general election. So what does their support mean? This is why this is such a big deal. It means probably millions and millions and millions of dollars in ads, both in the early states and also the Super Tuesday states. It means access to their data to get to voters. It means their vast network of conservative activists all acting on her behalf. So this is a huge boost to Nikki Haley as she really looks to fend off Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor, as the Trump alternative in this race. And just a scene set for everybody. Remember, the former president continues to really lead this field in all of the polling, both nationally and in the early states. And so what we have seen is who will be that Trump alternative. That's what so many of these other people in the field have tried to become. Ron DeSantis has really pitched himself as the person who can beat Donald Trump and win in a general election. Nikki Haley has done the same thing. And so in all of this polling and also on the ground, we're hearing from voters who are trying to sort through who is the best alternative and who can win. That's the thing that they really keep looking to. And so this endorsement could potentially reshape a lot of dynamics within this race as we get ever closer to January 15th. Of course, Kate, that's the Iowa caucuses. It kicks off the primary season voting.
And just thinking about this, Jessica, and what this political network brings to the Republican field, to conservative causes, and has for years, this almost seems like the biggest statement yet of Republicans established, like in a Republican donor network trying to move away and move past Donald Trump, as you're talking about. It's a real statement of what they're trying to do, of course, with the caveat on, you never know if it's going to work. But this seems a significant moment for that reason alone.
It certainly does, and I think you make a really good point there. I think for so many people in the, let's call it GOP establishment, not even never Trumpers, but people who perhaps supported Donald Trump in the last even 2 election cycles, who do not want to see him move forward as the nominee, who really want a new chapter. It's been a question of who will they coalesce around. And in this case, this is a huge push for Nikki Haley to be that person. And that is what's so significant, is that in that battle that really at this moment is between DeSantis and Haley. Haley really gets a big boost from this.
Really interesting. Great. Thanks for jumping on with that reporting. Great to see you.
I honestly want to just start to let viewers into the conversation we've just been having on set about Nikki Haley, because there is this news that the Kochs are going to put money behind her. All of a sudden, it does seem, this is one kind of piece, Sarah, of a broader story about Nikki Haley and her rise. I mean, as somebody who has, left the party over Donald Trump, how do you see this?
Well, if Nikki Haley were to become the nominee, that would be the greatest thing that could happen for the Republican Party, for the country, and for the world, because it would mean that Donald Trump,
really feel.
Because Donald Trump had been moved, he would be moved out of the party. I just think that the path to that happening is extraordinarily narrow for her, even with this latest endorsement. But I love this endorsement. It's really good. They bring a ton of other donors with them. It is not just Charles Koch. They bring a massive apparatus for door knocking and a ground game. They do bring lots of information. I just know from talking to Republican voters week in and week out that they still want Trump. You know, she represents kind of a before Trump time that voters really don't want. A lot of Republican voters, they say that she's establishment, that she's a rhino.
It's so funny because she was the Tea Party candidate all
I
along.
know.
She was the OG outside the establishment.
But
Yeah.
it's a testament to how much the party's changed, though, that they can use some of the things against her from her governorship, like taking down the Confederate flag. Like that's now like a negative
Opposing
for
racism,
her.
yeah.
That's right. Yes, but I think that I would love to see her win this. I just think. The biggest problem is that could she surprise us in Iowa? Yes. Could she do really well in New Hampshire? Yes. Can she win her home state of South Carolina? I don't
Entirely
think so.
unclear.
I don't think so.
Yeah, Ashley, briefly.
Well, Trump is still the most likely going to be the nominee. I still think Iowa and New Hampshire, they're the curveball states. They like to pick somebody who's not the prominent one. So I don't think it's going to be Iowa. I think it could be New Hampshire. But to this Coke endorsement, it's big because it just is like money that you don't have to think about raising because of their ground game, because of the ads they'll buy on air. And I think it can help her.